Well, much like Elements does with his tier list, I figure I can make a video offering a more explanation as to why things moved up and down. However, though, this will not replace the textual explanations I have. In any case, first thing I'd like to say is, it's pretty annoying seeing people go, why isn't Rammus and Maokai tier 1? It's just flavor of the month crap that happens all the time. I've seen it where people go, why isn't Sheikah tier 1? Why isn't Alistair tier 1? When people are, using them. It's just pretty annoying. It's just flavor of the month stuff. You're ignoring the weaknesses that exist within those junglers. Now, Trundle is in the second place of tier 1. Now, tier 1 is pretty loose in how it's ordered, but, it was bound to happen. The mastery changes buffed up Trundle quite significantly. More builds, can be tankier, can be more offensive. He's fully sustained now. His ganks are strong, and his invasion has always been strong. He's a very strong control jungler. He can be both a ganking and control jungler. Like, when it comes to duelists, no one can fight Trundle. He was the only one to survive the roaming meta, because he could outright kill the roamers. He's just very resistant, and as far as I know, he has no negative matchups in the jungle, and only has positive matchups. He's just all around strong. He was designed to be a jungler, and he is a really damn strong jungler. So, he's a deserving of this spot, and it'll make more sense when I explain why Skarner's tier 3, though. Alright, Skarner, he's just been getting better and better. Like, the last buffs that helped him out made him fast, sustainable, strong, and crazy. And the mastery changes just made him one of the fastest junglers. Like, if you jungle him full offense, he'll clear the thing in no time. If you jungle him full defense, he'll still clear it with very strong time, and he'll just be, transitioned that much better. He's fully sustained, he's fast, he traverses the map rather quickly, and he is impossible to kill. Like, his shield, especially with blue, it will just be up most of the time, and he'll pin you down if you try to fight him. He'll get you killed. I mean, contrary to Trundle, though, is his ganks aren't as strong pre-level 6, and in his dueling, he won't usually kill the person. He'll usually, force him out and give him a good beating. I mean, clearing speed, he's got slight edge, but path, variability goes to Trundle. So him and Trundle are pretty much very strong, very similar, but just Trundle gets that little edge, so that's why Trundle is one step ahead of him. But Skarner right now is incredibly dangerous, and the mastery changes only further made him stronger. A quick word on Lee Sin and as to why I haven't had a Season 2 video. The mastery changes didn't do anything for him. He's not different in any way. That's the basic rundown. He got more sustain, and he got some more damage, like slightly, but it didn't really increase his speed dramatically or change anything for him. I mean, when it comes to ganks or just general mastery pitches, he's got the same thing. He can build both ways and still be effective. So they didn't change anything to him. However, though, they did change Trundle and Skarner for a lot and made him a lot better. So that's why he got moved down. But he's still like a god mode jungler. Now Warwick is just getting worse and worse. Now, he's sustained, but most every other jungler is super sustained now. He can't gank pre-6. He's slow as hell. Everybody else just outpaces him now. He can't pull off level 2 ganks. He just doesn't have anything anymore. Even Dragon Control, other junglers do it better. Shyvana, Udyr, Skarner, Trundle. Like, they all do it better than Warwick. He just doesn't have anything unique to him anymore. He can't gank. I mean, sure, level 6 ganks are still among the best, but junglers are required to do much more before that. His invasion is sloppy now. Like, before, having super sustain helped him be a good invader, but that's not unique. That's nothing else. He's going down, and I fear he's gonna keep going down even more and more. He just doesn't do anything unique. He's got the sustain, nothing else though. I'll probably be using somebody else as my standard, and I was using Warwick all this entire time. So, just Warwick needs a sort of remake or something. Buffing him won't change anything. Alright, now I'm very familiar with Shyvana's lack of crowd control as a severe weakness. And that is true, that is a very bad weakness. Even in level 6 it doesn't improve anything. She is amongst one of the worst gankers for junglers. However, she's also one of the fastest and clears the jungle quicker than most anyone else. That too, and the damage output she brings is pretty extraordinary. So if there's anything she can do is be a control jungler. She also takes down the dragon, very quickly thanks to the double proc on Q, or just swing resetting with Q, which can also proc the lantern. I've taken the thing down like less than 10 seconds in level 6 just because I got some lucky procs on it. In any case, she's at the bottom of tier 2, and coincidentally, everyone after her starts, teetering off in quality. She seems to be the last of the junglers with like amazing strength in a certain area, like just extraordinary all around, with a peak at something else. Very few weaknesses. Like her weakness is ganking, like she can't gank, but everything else is pretty extraordinary. So that more than makes up for it, at least to be at the bottom of tier 2. Tier 3 is a lot more depressing, and I'll slowly get into that. Now, Xin Zhao is one of my favorite champions of the game. However, he's gotta, call out his weaknesses. When it comes to jungling, his first 2 levels are abysmal. That's not a real big deal breaker, but what is he can't transition forth to anything. Like, there are junglers like Shaco and Rammus who suffer if they don't get ganks. Xin Zhao falls apart completely. He will have no damage, and because they ruined his scaling, and they ruined a lot of what he could do, and he'll just drop since he has no survivability, and he can no longer build full tank and do anything. Like, his ult doesn't do any damage. He just got over nerfed. Honestly, that's the bad part about it. When it comes to just jungling, like the most he can do is gank, but that's his highlight point. Because since he's pretty slow as hell, there's nothing really notable about him anymore, or at all, or ever really was. He used to be really strong overall, but now he's average. He's weak at certain points, and his ganking isn't as strong as it used to be. The damage is just not there. Poor guy. Oh, and the other one, he used Maokai to create extraordinary feats in the latest tournament. If any of you saw State of the League, I made hints as to Maokai being a badass, and I've always done that. Though the last tier list, I moved him down for several reasons. He just he teetered off, but someone else found a better route and better, combination of runes and masteries that worked a lot better than mine. And thus, when I saw that in Oz performance, I just felt, bounce him right back up to tier 2. I had him really high at tier 2 last time, but running him again with my former build, not so much. Running him with that other guy's build, a lot better. You could find that build in the solomid.com. I don't know if I could just remake the build in my own channel, but if the guy, would accept, because, I kind of don't want to steal his thunder. Maokai is a control jungler, a strong one, and I've already explained that in the Living Jungle video. When it comes to ganking, he's got a mini Malphite ult on him, and it's pretty consistent, fail-proof, and deals quite a bit of damage. The range on it is pretty good, it's strong too, so his ganking is a real highlight. When it comes to control, he'll burst down the enemy jungler enough to scare them away, or if they stand and fight, he can usually kill them within the second round of his abilities. He'll clear camps quicker than most junglers, and that just makes him a stronger invader. His weakness is at buff camps, though. He really can't take those quick enough when it comes to invading, so he kind of focuses on taking the small camps. Overall, he's a strong control jungler, strong invader with strong ganking potential. So he's pretty much he can dominate the enemy jungler and still pressure the lanes. That's his strongest point. Like I had said, his weakness is his sustainability and his reliance on not having his initial jungle screwed, because he does have to set up in order to do that. So while many people are calling him to be tier 1, he's got a lot of weaknesses that a lot of the tier 1 junglers do not have. So tier 2 is still a very strong tier. So he by no means is weak, just not tier 1. He is not perfect, he is not flawless. He's still very strong though. Now, here comes where there's likely going to be some rage, because I am pretty goddamn tired of people going, why isn't Rammus tier 1? Oh, Rammus is so good. Oh, Rammus is so strong. But honestly, the hell is this coming from? People who just follow the flavor of the month bullshit. Like, they immediately say he's a god, but forget that he still has weaknesses. There's still reasons you didn't play him before. For starters, this guy is so path dependent, more path dependent than most of the other junglers, it's sick. You can counter jungle him easily. Did any of you forget just how in, the same tournament where you guys are basing Maokai's legend tier 1, potential on, that Rammus got counter jungled to hell and back? Sure, he managed to recover because he got some fortunate ganks in, but that was about it. He got screwed. Control junglers eat this guy for breakfast. He's slow as hell. I mean, he's not slow as hell. He's slow at clearing camps as the game progresses, so he negatively snowballs if he needs to get ganks to keep up. Otherwise, he just falls apart. Sure, he's got really strong ganking potential, but if you're fighting a Rammus, you just gotta keep your wits about you. Yeah, he's a strong ganker. He can probably get a gank on most laners, but that is still a variable. When it comes to speed, yeah, he's amongst one of the fastest, and with leash, he really, really burns through that jungle. But by no means is he perfect. He's unsustained with mana costs and low damage as the game progresses. He can't invade because he can't clear quick enough, and as far as dueling goes, other junglers just beat his ass. He's a strong jungler, he's a very strong ganker, he's a good pick, he's a good choice, but he's not tier 1 material for the tier list that's all about the jungle potential. So that is one thing that's been bugging me. Just because he's flavor of the month doesn't necessarily make him God. Anyways, this next part of the video is defending some of the junglers that I've put in certain positions, because people just can't seem to read as to why they're there, or accept that they're just stronger. There is the whole little rule I follow, when it comes to moving people on the tier list. If someone must go up, somebody else must come down. Well, this is not what that's about. I'll explain that a little bit later, but now a lot of people still question why Jarvan is I have him so high up in the tiers. For starters, he's probably going to be my new standard for jungling. In tests I've run in certain places I will not speak about, he is strong. He is overall balanced. He is average in certain sections, so above average in a lot, and has unique tricks to himself. For starters, he can blink. That's a lot for a jungler. There's not a lot of junglers who have blinking powers. Sure, it requires 2 abilities, but that is also accompanied with an AoE CC that covers, distance and is a skill shot, and it isn't blocked by minions. He has pretty strong damage too when it comes to ganking. Sure, it's not as high as others, but it's not to be underestimated. He has an AoE slow. Sure, it's pretty weak, but it's still an AoE slow that's a shield, which allows him to disengage easily. His clearing speed is average. His ganking power is strong, and he's got that ultimate. Basically denies their ability to flash away. If they flash, he'll pin them down, into basically securing their deaths and making their flashes wasted. So if they're too far away to flash to safety, they're likely dead versus Jarvan. Again, once more, just the fact that he's got a lot of these unique tools to him, he's pretty much an above average jungler, gives him that spot. Uniqueness combined with overall good strength, and just generally having what a jungler needs and being able to transition so well into a supportive tank role, make him a very strong jungler. That's the best way I can put it. Uniqueness with strength. Now, Cho'Gath is the one a lot of people just can't seem to, understand. I've explained it many, many times before, but they don't like it. Remember, this is a tier list that takes into account jungling. Usability is another thing. Well, not usability, viability in a tournament setting. When it comes to pure jungling, Cho'Gath has every single thing a jungler wants and a lot more. Double CC for ganking. Sure, it's pretty tricky to land those things, but double CC for ganking. A super smite, which is basically a double consume. A massive health steroid. Incredible healing speed. Dual sustain with both mana and health. AoE damage up the ass. and is in like he can build in any shape or form and just take any path he wants. He's got he's got the sustain of a Warwick. He's got the clearing speed of like I don't know Shyvana. He's got the ganking potential of most any jungler that has any CC. Land that rupture, silence them, they should be dead. He's got the nifty trick of feasting, which helps guarantee dragons, barons, stealing enemy jungle really easily. Has a health steroid, and there's no other one who can boast a health steroid like that. Maybe Sion, but that's not as good. So in anything, he's just got everything you would want, and a good portion of it. So he's above average and beyond average in some things. Combine that with a uniqueness, he's really strong. He's just severely underestimated. His transition is what is weak, and that is why he's not picked. That is it. Now, just some final, perhaps angry, words about how the tier list functions. I really get tired when people go, Tryndamere deserves to be at least tier 2, or some stupid shit like that. You know why it just annoys me? Because they're not taking into account anybody else they're wanting to move down. Tryndamere should be top of tier 2. Yeah, I should totally move, Maokai, Shaco, and that stuff to accommodate Tryndamere, because Tryndamere is obviously better than they are. No, just because it's not tier 1 doesn't mean tier 2 is bad. Just because tier 3 is below tier 2 doesn't mean it's bad either. It's just different. It's just the overall strength. When you want someone to move up, you also have to, make a reasonable argument as to why others will move down to accommodate that champion. This is how, take into account everything before you open your mouth.